Now, we've spoken to the guys at MurWalls before. They did a fantastic mural of Ledley King, a Spurs legend, a little while ago. And it's a growing trend. There's some fantastic ones all over the country from the world of football. Some brilliant ones up in Liverpool, I'm sure a lot of the Liverpool and Everton fans have seen. And now there is a podcast off the back of this, which is very interesting. Justin Beattie is the host of Say It and Spray It, which is the podcast. Mark Silver is the CEO of MurWalls, and they've joined us in the studio. Good afternoon, guys.
Hello.
Good
Thanks
to
for having us.
see you. How long have you been doing this, Mark? How long has this been a kind of business for you?
Back in 2019, 3.5 years. That's when we set it up. The original concept was to bring street art into people's homes. We started out with West Ham United, thought we'd do it as a licensed product, got introduced to Liverpool, and it exploded pretty quickly. But it only lasted a few months because we then hit COVID, so we couldn't go into anyone's house, and we didn't want to go into anyone's house, so we kind of rethought the wheel a little bit and then decided to do some big outside stuff, which obviously gets a lot more attention.
Yeah. So you were doing it inside people's houses?
That's only for a couple of months, and we was doing kids' bedrooms, man caves, that kind of thing.
And that's still a service you offer, is it?
We do, but obviously the exposure you get from the big outside ones, and financially it's much more, it's more efficient for us to do the big ones. But we do them, we've done Steven Gerrard's son, so we wouldn't say no to something like that, but it's not something we do on a daily basis.
And we were saying the fans love these. They're often old heroes as well.
Or current heroes in many cases, of like the Harry Kane one you've done recently, I've seen at Tottenham, which is he went along with his family to see the unveiling of, and he's still he's playing at the moment. For this week anyway, he's still a Tottenham player.
He's still a Tottenham player at the moment. I mean, that's brilliant. The joy that we get out of, obviously, with the fans, seeing how they react to it, but also the players themselves. But I think the real legends of the game, back from when I was growing up back in the 80s, and seeing the likes of Ian Rush and people like that being tributed on these murals, that's really special for me. But of course we like doing the current players because that gets the attention really, and just seeing how they feel about it, it's a very special thing.
So it's a visual medium, should I say, Justin? So how's the podcast going to work around a subject like this?
So it's going to work by us getting people that have been painted in these murals to come on and talk about the experience of being painted and how it feels to have a big mural of them in their hometown or where they made themselves famous. So when we speak to people that have played for Liverpool, how it feels to have a mural in Anfield and that kind of stuff. So yeah, it was a bit of a stretch to how we were going to make a podcast out of it. But when Mark said, we'll get the people on that have been painted, I was like, I think that'll work. So yeah.
I think the techniques of how you do it and how you plan a piece and execute it are also quite interesting.
Well, I imagine the process, Mark, this could be quite interesting, because first you've got to find a wall, you've got to make sure everybody locally is happy with that. I guess you've got to check with the council, maybe you have to check with the club if you're using someone's likeness. Do you have to check with the player?
Everyone's completely different. Generally we're working with the clubs. We started out doing this and we was trying to work with the clubs. Now we're getting the clubs coming to us saying, can you come and paint the side of our stadium? So it's become easier. Around Liverpool, you've got people that live in the houses with the gable ends literally calling us up going, can you come and paint the side of my house? So it's a lot easier. Whereas my club, West Ham, we've struggled because there's no residential buildings around the stadium. So whereas we wanted to do something for them,
you can't go down to Westfield.
Where did you put that
on the side of Louis Vuitton?
We can, but we'll probably get arrested. So we'll leave it now.
West Ham one though. Where is that? It's Bonds and Brooking.
Bonds and Brooking was done by Nash, one of our guys, before we set up MurWalls as a business. But that's down at the Barking Road by the old Bowlin. So that's a lovely piece down there. But obviously now it's about trying to get it down by Stratford, where obviously the football's being played these days.
Can you do one of me and Paul on the side of this building?
It's a glass building, so it'd be a challenge, but we can.
It would be. People have been coming here and throwing paint at this building, but not quite in the way we'd hope. One I love, because he played for my club, but he's in Liverpool, and it's a Liverpool angle on it. Is a Ray Clements, which is a lovely one, because as you said, Ray was not well at the time, was he? And it's a beautiful tribute. That
there's a great story how that all come about. It was a mistake. Originally, I was introduced to Ray's daughter. A friend of mine lives out in Florida and knows her really well, and originally we were looking at doing a Jimmy Greaves mural over at Tottenham, and I was being introduced to Ray really to get his thoughts on the Jimmy one and maybe help give some quotes on it, and it turned into a mural of him, and emotionally, that's the one that really got to me, because we knew he didn't have long to go. We wanted to get it done, and his whole family come down. Ray wasn't well enough to come down for the actual reveal, but we know how he felt about it. We're still in touch with the family now, and Stephen, his son, comes on the podcast and talks about that. It was a really special one.
So, I mean, will we have situations where you'll speak to people for the podcast? It'd be quite nice to do one when there's an unveiling going on at some point, with one of your future ones.
Absolutely. We've got so much planned as well.
Yeah.
We've got so many different ones planned. But obviously some of the people that we've painted already, there's some big names, and we're really excited that we managed to speak to Steven Gerrard, Jamie Carragher, Leah Williamson. These are big household names in the football world, and we're getting to chat to them. To meet them is special, but to get to talk to them on our podcast, we know that we've done something for them that they appreciate. So why not share this with everyone else, all these amazing stories.
What about others? The late Queen, I can see June Brown. Cotton.
Oh, I was going to say the late Queen.
Yeah, there's
I didn't know June Brown was the late Queen. You didn't have
she was a queen.
You didn't have a comma in there. Oh, okay. Oh, I'm with you now.
Football is where we're best known, especially up in Liverpool. But we work with all the football clubs.
Yeah,
a lot of the football clubs. But we also done stuff with Elton John. So we're in the music world. We've done stuff with Sony Pictures for Ghostbusters, the movie that came out, and Dungeons and Dragons, Transformers. So
cricket. Yeah, I mean, Jimmy Anderson, a Stuart Broad, or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, we've done a few pieces on the outside of the Oval.
Yeah.
So we're in there now. It's just about, Twickenham. We've done lots at Twickenham. We've got some projects lined up for the next couple of weeks down there as well. So there's nothing really that wouldn't lend itself to be painted, really.
And who's your team, Justin?
I'm Watford, which is how I met Mark. His team were doing a Graham Taylor mural, and I noticed that they got the font on the badge wrong. So I went across and went, you need to change that, and that's kind of how Mark and I got talking. So I'm Watford.
Well, we done it right, but we done it wrong for the wrong time of
it was the right
era of Graham Taylor, wasn't it? But that's how we met.
That's the sort of thing that would get picked up though by the fans, isn't
by
it?
someone like Justin, as it did.
A busybody,
which we talk about on the podcast that's come out. But no, that was brilliant. And out of all the murals, that's one of my most special ones, for the basis that it's Graham Taylor and it's right next to the stadium and he's looking at it. But that's where we met, and he said to me, I think it'd be a great idea to do a podcast. I agreed with him, just didn't know how we go about doing it. And then once I started speaking to the likes of Carragher and people like that who are friends of MurWalls, very supportive of what we do, and they said, I'll come on. I knew that we had something. So
brilliant.
See how
Where did you learn to do this? I presume you went to art school or something like that.
Yeah, so I'm a graphic designer. Originally I used to do art when I was at school, and I loved it, but I didn't think I'd make a living until I was dead. So, like Van Gogh and people like that. So I went into publishing and graphic design. I hired Nasha, one of our artists, to come and do some spray painting graffiti in my son's bedroom, made it into a West Ham changing room. And I just thought there's got to be something we can do with this. It took me a few years before I had the time. And we just kind of went from there, really. And now we've got a team we've worked with about 30 artists, but a core team of about 5 or 6 that work with us on a job-to-job basis.
And you talk about the art, apart from talking to the personalities, Justin, finally, you talking about the art of it? You talk about, I take it you're always looking for new talent, and there must be people, because this is a growing sort of form of media, I'm sure there'll be a lot more people that are interested in doing it.
I hope so. Yeah, I really hope so. We talk about, the podcast does obviously deal with their career a little bit, but then we go into the artwork quite a bit and how it feels. And, we often ask, so when was the last time you drove past it to have a look at it and all this sort of stuff? And most people are great about it. They're just so pleased to have it. And, they take their family down there and all that sort of stuff. There's quite a good story on the Leah Williamson one when that comes out. Listen out for that as to what happened when she went to her mural. That's quite funny.
So the first one's available
today?
Okay.
The first one's available today, and then they're going out every Wednesday going forward.
And it's called Say It and Spray It.
It's called Say It and Spray It.
And you'll find it... what sort of length we? How long are they?
Well, it depends how talkative the guest is. It's anywhere from half an hour to an hour sometimes.
Okay.
So they're not a standard length, but...
The Leo one went on... We said to about half an hour, didn't we? But it went on a lot longer because we've done multiple murals of Leah Williamson for obvious reasons. So we ended up speaking about all of them.
Yeah.
Wow, good stuff. Well, we look forward to having a listen, and I think we're going to be hopefully chatting to some of the people that you're going to be featuring. So we'll talk again, and keep up the good work. They are fantastic, and I think the reaction not just to the players but the fans of the clubs is pretty evident as well. So good to see you both. Thanks very much for coming in.
Thank you very much.
That's Mark Silver, CEO of MurWalls, and Justin Beattie is the host of Say It and Spray It, the new podcast. We're going to be